Commerce. Welcome to our campus. We're very excited today to have APS with us. Cynthia is a good friend of the Chamber and has been for quite some time. APS is a friend of the Chamber as well. And the reason that I say that is they have, if not the most, then one of the most developed supplier diversity programs in the state. And they really lead by giving diverse suppliers opportunities. We know that they have buy-in from the top down, and many executives are bonused on supplier diversity. So it really is a major initiative for them. And today you're going to hear Cynthia talk a little bit about a lot about supplier diversity, how to do business with APS. And I would encourage you to take lots of notes and then reconnect with Cynthia after this meeting. But have a wonderful meeting. Cynthia, I will hand it over to you. And let me know if you have any questions at all. We'll be here to help you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Monica. Applause to Monica. I mean, this is a pretty small group, and we have folks online. Is it okay that I'm giving their mic? So I'll introduce myself first. My name is Silvia Manzanares. I'm the Supplier Diversity Program Manager at APS. I've been with APS almost 15 years, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting old. Because when I first started with the company, I worked with people that have been there for like 20 years, and then as someone in my 20s, I was like, oh my God, I'm 2 years tops, and then I'm moving to my next opportunity. But it's been, thank you. It's been a really great company to work for, and the reason why I stayed is because I'm given different opportunities. So I was able to grow. So when I first started with the company, I didn't even know about this job. So I started with the company as a buyer. So just a little bit about myself, so you get to know me, and I would like to get to know you a little bit as well. I'm originally from Mexico. I'm from Sinaloa. We got a Sinaloa. Thank you for not saying the Sinaloa cartel, because I get a lot of that. We don't talk. Right? You know. Because I get a lot of that, which is pretty funny. But I was 8 years old when I moved to Tolleson. Anybody heard of Tolleson in the West Side? Yeah. So I grew up in Tolleson. I went to high school there, then went to ASU, and moved a couple of years to Florida. Came back here and then worked for the state and then worked for APS. So I love the warm weather. So that's why I love being in Arizona. Even though people hate it in the summer, it doesn't bother me, at all, actually. So with the company, I started as a buyer. So in your interactions, I'm sure you do a lot of interactions with buyers, category managers. Those are the category managers are the we have in our company that deal with like more strategy. Like they'll say, hey, I have 5 suppliers that do this. Maybe I should do a strategy and just have 1 supplier that does that. So those are the things that you need to know about, because then you become a little more strategic. So a little bit, so I want to do it just really quickly to do introductions so then I know who is in the room with me, if you guys don't mind. We'll start in that corner with you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Victor Lopez. I'm a business lending consultant, so I have small business with funding and qualified. Thank you.
Great. Now we got to stand, huh? So I'm Daniel. We have a small market research company called Predator Research. We do custom market research and customer experience. If you're interested, find out what you really want.
All right, well, my name is Hector Marquez. I'm with US Bank. I'm a business portfolio manager. So we do pretty much everything to assist business customers, whether they're new or they've been in the field, on their field for years, just to look for better business options for them, financing and operating.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mercedes Garcia. I'm also with US Bank Banking, excuse me. I do merchant services. So for any of the business customers that are accepting credit card services, that's what I do.
Hi, my name is Tanisha. I am a founder of a nonprofit organization to assist the low income, domestic violence, and also the homeless community. We provide food baskets, clothing baskets, we have homeless drives every quarter, and we also provide community resources on housing and sometimes continuous.
Good morning, my name is Daniel Rivas. I am with Nexus Communications. I'm the regional sales director, so any needs as far as communications for businesses, whether it's a small business or as far as an enterprise, please reach out, connect on LinkedIn. Thanks so much for your education. Really looking forward to it.
Alejandro Machado, sales representative for a plastic distribution company here in Phoenix, Arizona, throughout the US, Mexico, and Canada. We're just a distribution for automotive, housing, you name it. I mean, if you need a piece of plastic, so yeah.
My name is Jan Molina, and I am actually a full service financial advisor and a mortgage broker. So one with the mortgages, I can shop around multiple lenders for one application. That way customers don't have to actually go and shop different and spend hours with different banks. And then with the financial service, and I do a full service for the customers and as well help business with 401ks, IRS, solo 401ks, so can help small businesses set that up as well.
Is it a little arrow? Yeah, right, okay. So APS, who has APS and who's an SRP customer here? APS.
Yeah. And then that doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah. A lot of people, it's funny because when I, introduce myself and I say I work for APS, they say, oh, SRP, you're a competitor. I'm like, not really. They have like their territories. Our territories, like, wow, I'm like, I kind of sound like I'm describing again, but no. I'm like, we are friends. Actually, I work really closely with their manager, supply diversity program manager, but she actually retired. Everybody's retired, except for me, because I can't. Yeah. Right now, APS is really going on a journey to be more sustainable. So they made a promise of not using coal to fire our plants. So because of the environment, so that means that we got to do things a little differently. And then we ask our suppliers to help us with that. So APS is the longest serving utility for over for over 100 years. So it was started actually by a Chinese immigrant who started the company over 103 years ago. So, and our territory is mostly here in Arizona, and then we have just a little bit of territory in the Four Corners area of New Mexico. We have a plant there, but that plant will probably be closed in maybe 10 years. So I do most of my work here in Arizona. I look for local and diverse business. So when I say diverse, I explain it because a lot of people think, oh, like a Hispanic business, like not just that. So when I say this, diverse is women-owned businesses. That's what I look for. Veteran-owned, service disabled, veteran-owned. Hub Zone is another certification. If you haven't heard of Hub Zone, it's an underrepresented business in an area that's not typically there. So they get that certification. So they typically have to compete with like a national company, right? So they get that certification. We also got the LGBT business certification last year. And then all the different minority categories, for example, Hispanic owned, Black owned, Native owned, are the different categories I also look for. So I partner with the Hispanic Chamber to look for members because they fit those categories. And then I also partner with third-party certification agencies. So these are the agencies that will certify as you as a women-owned business, as a diverse business. So I actually sit on the board of the Pacific Southwest Minorities. I told their name was too long. Pacific Southwest Minority Supplier Development Council. I know. So I just say Pacific Southwest. So I sit on their board, and then they certify businesses as minority-owned businesses. So if I could just give you one piece of advice, is you're doing one thing great. You're part of this organization, and also be part of other organizations, because you build your network, and then you do a lot of business to business. A lot of people, okay, I want to work with APS. I'm like, yes, I would love to work with you as well, but we might not have an opportunity for you until 6 months or a year, or maybe we just signed a contract for your service and it's not coming up for a request for proposal until 2 years. So what do you do, right? So you have to be able to work with others that might have an opportunity like right now. Yeah. All right. I wanted just to show you what my organization looks like. And if you guys have questions, just let me know. I mean, this is pretty informal, so you don't have to like wait till the end. It's a pretty small group. Huh? You don't have to. But anyway, stand up, raise your hand, and then ask your just so you kind of have an idea of what my organization looks like. So I'm in supply chain management. I think I mentioned that I was a buyer when I first started with the company. So I did construction services. So I did actually construction contract for APS. Never thought I would do that, but that's what I did for APS. I actually, and I bought a little bit of materials. So we have different areas. We have a procurement team that buys everything. You wouldn't think like just think of what our company does. We give power, to the communities, and then we need everything in between to be able to do that. We do, facilities management, we buy the power poles, we buy cable, we need consulting services, we need on the material side, tons of materials. We're actually building a new warehouse out west. Because we needed more space. So, we bought so many different things. So when I speak to a supplier, what I do is I try to say, okay, what do you do? What's your service? What's your product? And then I try to find out, okay, you need to talk to this buyer because that's their commodity. And then you get an idea of, if there's an opportunity right now, or if there's a potential opportunity in the future. Yeah. And what I do is, I help with, okay, what do you need to do now? Okay, so you need to first register. So those are the kind of things that we're going to talk about, that I tell people. And the first thing you need to do is this, because when you talk to a buyer, they're going to say, did you register? And you'll be like, no. I'm like, so I try to help, and I'm that bridge between, the local suppliers and my company, to make it as easy as possible for you to do business with us. And that's what people ask me anything, because I've done everything in the company as far as buying, as far as the transactional portion. So I can actually help you with that. And even I tell people, if you're submitting a quote, I can help you with that too. If you have a question on something, if you want to say, hey, can I do an alternate proposal? And then I can kind of help with that as well. So I'm happy to help with that as well, because that is my job. Any questions on kind of our department?
Don't you guys have like a website where we can go in and do some bidding on some material?
Yes. Yes, we do, but you need to be invited to provide a quote or a bid for that. So the website is called Our Advocate, and it's later on in the presentation. Also, I sent them some information where it has the link to register with us. And it has a link to our diverse supplier training program. So you'll get that after the presentation, so you don't have to write that down. W do it just kidding now. Yeah, so I wanted to talk also about our APS supplier diversity program. So it started in 1992. And really the main goal for us is to train and help local suppliers, local diverse suppliers to do business with us. That's really it. At the end of the day, that's what our suppliers want, is to do business, right? And to get resources. So typically, I help, and then the procurement team helps doing matchmaking. So we've done that actually with the chamber, where buyers will come and then they'll meet with you and say, okay, you know, what service product do you provide, and then see how we can kind of start that relationship. And there's 2 program managers. I handle mostly working with the local suppliers, and then the other program manager deals with the training program. So we have an actual training program for small businesses. They're actually hiring a training program manager right now, so I'm kind of helping them until that starts. But that's okay. We are flexible, right? And now that I talked about the diverse supplier training program, we used to do a training program in person. So we used to have, for 12 weeks, they would come to our headquarters. Our headquarters are in the Arizona Center on 5th Street and Van Buren. But with the pandemic, like most of us, you know, I think I was talking with someone that I was stuck at home for 2 years. Like, we all got sent home. So that had a big impact, especially on our diverse supplier training program, because it used to be in person. Now it's actually online. It's a virtual training program. And we've actually gotten really good feedback, because a lot of our business owners, they said, I don't have time to go in person for 5 hours. I have a business to run, you know, and a lot of them, they're really hands-on. I mean, they are the business, you know. So now you can actually log in. There's a link, you can register, and it's very fast, and you can just do it at your own pace. And which is great. And at the end of the program, you'll have a certificate. You'll have also a capability statement that you'll give us, and a presentation that in the tool, you do a small presentation and it's saved, and then that is sent to our procurement team. So that's what we really like, is that you're going to do something and that's going to connect you to our team, because that's really what you want, right? You want that to make that connection. So it's not a very long program. We're going to add more content maybe later this year, but I tell people, if you want to do business with us, this is like the best way, because you get all the information, because you can only retain so much information from probably like this presentation. Just retain 2 things: register with us and go and do this diverse supplier training program. And then this program, we will even give you like a worksheet with like summary of everything, information. So I tell people, you do the program, you have your little worksheet. 6 months from then, you'll have a worksheet to go back to. That's really, I think, the next phase of doing training is not so much in person anymore. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a lot of virtual training now. So highly recommend the program, and we'll send you the link to the program after my presentation.
Is that asynchronous? Is that asynchronous?
Yeah. So, and if you, for example, if you start doing the training, if you sat down, I tell people, if you just sat down and went through the whole thing without breaks, it would probably take you 3 hours. No break. I mean, you don't want to do that, but you know, I like to just say, to give you an idea of how long, because we work with the supplier, which is a friend of the chamber, who is a diverse supplier, Compass CBS, who does training. And they said, you can't do more than like 3 minutes, like a module. You can't do longer than this because your retention. And I'm really happy with the work they did. And we're also supporting a local and diverse business. Great. The program I think is really awesome. So these are the certifications that I talked about earlier that we look for. And also here, we don't have it listed, but we look for local. So if you don't have these certifications, but if you're a small local business, we also look for that, and we track it as well. We actually work with an organization called Local First, and they helped us come up with, what is considered a local business, because so we have that. So that's something else that I also, when I talk about the program, is, even if you're not minority owned, women owned, we also look for, if you're just a small business, if you don't have those certifications, maybe you're just a local business.
And can we go to Local First and apply this, or let it be known that we're a small?
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I think the more organizations like this one that you're part of, the more network that you're gonna grow. Yeah. We have I think over 100 partners that we work with at APS. I don't work with them all, but there's whole teams that work with them. And I work with the ones that apply to what I do. So the Hispanic Chamber is one. And all the other chambers, for example, on Saturday, I'm going to the Asian Chamber, they have an event. So that's another group that we target that we want to do business with. So I say, all the chamber. Of course, you don't have all the time in the world, but as many as you can, I guess. Especially now, it's a little hard. Future opportunities. I wanted to just give you guys just an idea of the kind of things that we buy at APS, because a lot of times people might think that we just buy, I don't know, electrical stuff, but it's not just that. Any materials, safety materials, transformers, cable. I mean, you should see our warehouses. They're pretty amazing. We do a lot of, right now, I would say, construction is probably a little more activity within that area, just because of the growth of the valley. So we have gotten major contracts with that semiconductor manufacturer. They're going north, so that's our service territory. So then we have to be able to support them. So now we have to grow too. We have to build substations, and we have to be able to give them power. So that also.
Are they expanded and now they're in your territory?
They're in our.
Smart to play on both.
Yeah. I don't know how that happened.
That's the time.
Yes.
Yeah, that big deal. That's right.
It's a pretty big deal.
So,
yeah.
Does communication fall under contingent or just IT?
That would fall under corporate services. So our corporate service team would handles communication.
Who's my best friend over there?
Aaron Breckenridge would be your best. So we have a in-house communication team, and then they also work with others if they need to do anything special, like I don't know, commercial or things like that. We work with other partners like ODS Communications, and then when they need to do things like special, then they can reach out for different services.
The number you play for everyone.
Oh yes.
It's not me. I just need to know who.
Palo Verde is also part of APS. They're out west. We also work with their department. They have their own teams. And I also collaborate with them, and I give them information on suppliers that I find that they could use there. Any questions on where you would fit or anything like that?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you guys ever have events, I guess like a network event where those businesses that are part of the contracts or whatever meet or interact?
Yeah, these last 2 years, no. But for example, we had an event, I mentioned that big warehousing complex Hub West that's being built in Buckeye. The supplier, McCarthy is our main construction supplier. Yes, McCarthy. So then we did an event where McCarthy can meet with local, construction companies. Because we made it a requirement in the McCarthy contract that a certain percentage of their spend has to be local and diverse businesses. So then, to help them with that, we say, hey, we have all these partners, come meet with our, local partners, local construction partners. So we do events like that. These last years, with everything, we haven't done it, but when we have major things, for example, when we have the on semiconductor project kicked off, that's probably something that we'll all get involved with, because I need to find partners to be able to get that done as well. So yeah, we help putting that together, and then we're actually starting to do more requirements on our big suppliers to spend with local and diverse businesses. Because if you don't require it in a contract, then it doesn't get done, right?
Yeah.
So
It's
you'll
not
bring
written,
it
it's
out.
not written down.
Outsource, bring it from out of state.
So, because we want to have a bigger impact in our community, and how can we do that? It's with our local suppliers. So yes, we do. And then as I start doing those events again, I work with the different chambers, different partners, and say, hey, I'm looking for 10 suppliers that do this. Do you have them? And then they give me the information, and that's how we kind of do work those.
Are only suppliers allowed to go attend to those events, or like, for example, he does financing, we do financing, he does financing, like, are we able to attend and
Oh, yeah.
assist?
Yeah, for example, like when we do our diversifier training program, we actually would invite different partners, because we know like a lot of our suppliers, like their next step is to maybe grow and they're stuck, right? So what do they need? Sometimes it's the capital, they have all their money, they probably tied up and whatever, to be able to get the business going. Then no more money, the cash flow is low. So yes, especially with our diversifier training program, I could definitely see a potential where we could do maybe a session on financing, and you can come and talk about, hey, here are some potential options for you. So yes, we do things to also help our suppliers as well. Please. Definitely a potential for.
Do we need to even register for those?
I would say yes, only because there's that training platform is almost like a hybrid of Instagram and Facebook. Like I'll post things like once, and then you'll be able to say like, I'll say, hey, we're having, for example, anybody in construction, we're gonna do a session on safety, whoever wants to attend, or we're gonna do a session on financing, whoever wants to attend. So yes, so you would have to be registered only so that you can get the messages.
And people are like APS, Instagram or stuff, or like their own personal, like business.
No, it's through the training platform. Yes, so it would be through our company. Yeah, that's why I'm pretty excited about it, because then if something is happening, then we can communicate with you. Then you can communicate with us on there, and then we can kind of share all that information, because I think a lot of things get stuck in people's emails, right? If I'm gone for 2 weeks and you're like, who do I talk to, then we have that where our team can go in and they can, look for for different suppliers. So I think it's cool. I think the pandemic forced our company to be more virtual. I think eventually we were gonna get there, but like, I don't know, 5 years. I think the pandemic kind of pushed a lot of people like, you gotta do it now. And it's funny, we actually have seen a lot of people who retired, who were just not used to working from home. They like going to the office. They had their friends in the office. Different mindset. I think you just have to be flexible, you know. I mean, I love being with people and interacting, but I knew that you had to pivot your strategy.
Still at home, or are you doing
Hybrid right now. A lot of people are still home. Our company is finally letting people come back because there were a lot of restrictions to go to the office. You had to wear a mask. You had to do like a form. Like it was a pretty intense, which is fine. But now like people can go to the office. A lot of people, but like me, I took all my stuff to my house. So if I go to the office now, there's nothing there, you know. But they actually they're doing flexible work areas now. With like they renovated the 8th floor in our tower where you can just go in and just plug in. You have everything there.
This is like a hotel in space.
So I think, yeah, I think a lot of companies are probably going to move to that, and I think you know it's going to be a money saver as well because you don't have one cubicle for one person because we were running out of room where we were at as well. So then by sending everyone home, they kind of relieve that pressure. Now it's going to give them time to do the renovations. And
you ever run in 2 days a week and double your up.
exactly.
And the community really likes it because there's so many people who like couldn't afford childcare, so now being able to work from home, they can do it. Because most kids can take care of themselves. They just, you just have to that's the thing he's grown, but you just gotta be there like watching because he's not that grown yet. Yeah, just be. So I knew I was working with a few different mothers and I'm single fathers. People always forget that fathers can be single parents too before the pandemic, and they're just like, I just can't afford childcare. It's like you go to work, so you don't qualify for childcare, but then it's like you quit working, then you can't afford childcare.
Yeah.
It's like you're like stuck in that limbo. So a lot of them like working from home so they're getting that balance, and it's helped the community a lot more as far as financially, just doing it that way.
Yeah, so there is definitely flexibility for working, which is great. But you know, a lot of folks are just in my company. I think they've been there for like 20 years or whatever. So they were like, they could retire. So they're like, I'm thinking that they just got comfortable being home. Like, I want to just retire. You know, I'm already here. But there's if you're interested in an opportunity with APS, you know, they post all of their jobs there, you know, all kinds of different things. Yeah. Let me bring it back. So let's talk about, so somebody asked about our advocate where you would still submit a bid. Okay, so I wanted to give you just a quick look of what it would look like. So if you were invited to provide a quote for us for, you know, let's just say.
So you need a login for this?
Yes. So after my presentation, we're gonna send you a link to register to Power Advocate, okay? So that you get an email saying, hey, you know, so-and-so invites you to provide a bid, you know, for this. Then you log in and then this is what you see. You see instructions to bidders, you see everything that you need to fill out. So this is where I would come in because a lot of times our suppliers aren't comfortable or they haven't seen this before. So I can help them. I can help them say, okay, this is what you need to look at. And it tells you when your bid is due. It's typically in red, it's saying, you know, 5 days and this is due. I tell everyone at my company, all your instructions are in that instructions to bidders document. And this is where you would submit a proposal. And one thing that I wanted to note is they'll ask for like a price for something and provide it and how it's being taxed, you know, because typically at APS, we have either 1, 2, or 3 people, or it could be more depending on the project, looking at a bit. And if it's really hard to know what, what the price is or what you're doing, it's hard to evaluate it. So if it's hard, the more hard it is to evaluate something, I think your grade kind of starts dropping. So I say, be as clear as you can, respond, provide it in the format that it's being asked. But then I say, but if you have a better way of doing something, or a cheaper way, or a faster way, you're the expert in your field, right? I tell, provide an alternate proposal. Provide how it's being asked first, and then also provide your alternate proposal. Because and then that is an advice that I give to all suppliers all the time, because I think it's a missed opportunity if you don't do that. Because a lot of times we might be asking for something, but there might be a better way of doing it that we don't even know about, right? And if you can provide it and the price is lower, then.
Is there a lot of competition?
Yes.
What is the, so in all areas, not just like one?
There's more competition in certain areas, but there are some, like, for example, transformers. There's not tons of competition in transformers because there's only specific companies that manufacture transformers. So we have contracts probably for those that are like, 5 years or so. But then we might do a bid for consultant services. So you might have maybe 5, 8, 10 suppliers doing that service. So it really depends on the commodity.
It's similar to government contracts, like when you're bidding for government contracts, the process, it sounds very similar.
It's similar, but unfortunately, and then I tell people, we don't all do it the same way. I wish it was just one way of doing it, but every company has their own way, their own platform. We have Power Advocate is our platform that we do our request for proposals. And this is where actually you register. So when you go, you'll have the link to register, and you tell us what products, services you provide. What we do is we do a search and say, hey, I'm looking for this service or this product. And then if you register for that service, and if you say, oh, I'm like, I'm a local business, even better, because those are the ones that I specifically look for.
So those are your filters.
Yes.
The instructions have like a statement of work.
Correct, yes.
Exactly. So that's just what you found.
Yes. Yep. Statement of work will typically be included in the bidder's document. I won't go too much into that because I don't want to get okay, bidders. We kind of went over this a little bit already. Balance brevity with complete response. I've seen where a lot of suppliers will give tons of marketing information, and that's fine, but I would say respond to the request, and then if you want to, and another attachment with marketing, that's fine. Because like I said, if it takes me an hour to try to sift through what you responded, versus like everything's concise in one page, then I would say don't do that. Don't do that. But you can still, provide that as a separate attachment. A lot of times when you're getting invited to provide like a bid or proposal, you probably have someone that's already doing it for us. Okay, so you got to think about, one, they already have another supplier doing this. Okay, 2, that supplier knows how to work with the company already. So then, what am I bringing that's value added? How can I unseat someone that has that contract with APS? A lot of times, one, the reason why we're requesting a bid is because the market and the contract's over. So typically we go up and look at the market, and if the market looks like it's competitive, then we'll go out to bid. But if but we have category managers that say, ooh, the market's bad for us right now. Maybe we can work with our current supplier to see if they can work with us. Maybe they don't. Okay, if they don't, then we'll go out to the market. So you have to think about, there's somebody else, there's a competition somewhere. So you have to be able to be prepared to unseat a current vendor. So I would say, you know, and when I promote local suppliers, I say they're a lot more flexible than a national supplier or an account rep that you might not see. They're here. If you need to do something, I think, you know, and I think there is a perception that the local diverse suppliers are not competitive. And I say they're competitive. You know, they have to be competitive to survive in their field. At the same time, you know, we don't want them to lower their price so much that, you know, they're having problems, you know, maintaining their businesses. But when I promote them, like they're competitive. And when I work with my procurement teams, I have to like be able to like sell them on like, yeah, they can provide the service or product that you're looking for. On one of the bullets there, it says alternate proposals are always welcome, and that's what we talked about. Please do that if you have time to do it, because you're the expert in your field, and you can tell us how to do it better. And I think getting to know the companies that you're providing a bid for is good as well. Like APS has a really big sustainability initiative. So like if you're doing something within that, you know, area, tell us about it, you know, because you're going to help us be more sustainable.
Soccer, they have a Forever Green.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, 'cause it's based out of Sevilla, Spain. So it's an international evergreen initiative.
There you go. All right. Any questions on RFPs or anything you would want to know about, like providing a bid to APS? No?
Competition is, you play with them? Do you love them?
I'm curious.
Right?
I know that you focus on minority, on diverse, and all that fun stuff. So what, I don't know if you know this, what percentage does APS actually do business with diverse businesses?
As far as our.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like demographics?
Yeah. No, not demographics, just percentage. So
yeah, it's like an idea of what do they actually bring in on
Yeah.
board?
like overall.
20%, 30% of the whole business.
So we do procurement spend. So last year we spent $458 million with local and diverse businesses. But if you want that as a percentage of overall spend, I mean, that's pretty low. It's only like 12% of our overall spend. But there's some spend that we have no control over, unfortunately. But as far as diverse vendors, we work with we're like 122 right now. Yeah. But we don't measure that as a percentage. There are some companies that do, and I'm pretty impressed because, but they have really big departments, and a lot of those are in capital. But we don't. We just measure overall spend total. So every year we try to increase our overall spend, and we also track how many diverse local suppliers are invited to our bids. So every month I have to report on, hey, last month we only had so many percentages. Why? So then I look at, okay, this buyer had 10 events, he only invited 2. So then I go out to that buyer and say, hey, why do I need to help you look for suppliers? So that's how we try to stay on track. And first you have to invite, like if you don't know, if you're not invited to the party, then you can't
First you
get
gotta register.
Yeah, first you gotta register.
To get invited.
Yeah, so we kind of brought it back and say, what do we need to look at? We need to look at if we're even inviting diverse suppliers. And then I also look at, are they responding? Are we inviting the wrong ones? Why are they not responding? And if they are, why are they not getting, you know, the award? So it's like actually a lot of work if you think about it. Yeah, but that's what we have to do. If we're really serious about our local and diverse businesses, then we have to do that work. And it takes time to do that. All right, we don't have anybody within the construction here, do we? Okay. Only, I'll just mention this quickly then. At APS, we do a lot of high risk. If you're in construction working with substations, it's very high risk work. So we require extra requirements, safety requirements. So this is called ISN. You have to be in this website and they evaluate your safety rating. So then we know that you're a safe company to do business with us, because when you see, you know, APS around town, it's a lot of the times it's our suppliers that are working with us. Wow. So they represent APS.
We build towers as well.
Okay. So that's where I mentioned they have to be an ISN. So I brought this up. Sometimes I present and there's people within the construction industry, and I say it's a requirement to do business with us if it's high risk work. So that's all I have to say about that. Like I said, registration. Remember I mentioned if you only remember 2 things about my presentation, that's going to be almost 50 minutes. Is to register with us. We'll send you the registration link so you don't have to write it down. Still write it down.
I know it's gonna get lost in my ear. I'm not registering the car.
Register with us. Tell us what products you have. And the contact that you put there, please make sure is a person that's currently looking at their emails, okay? Because when we invite you to something, it will come through your email.
You mentioned California. Is there a reason that's coming also in California? I'm guessing, like corporate.
No, I just mentioned because they have really I have co-workers that do what I do in California, so we have a big network, but they have, for example, a big supplier diversity team, but they have requirements from the government saying, okay, you're spending, so then they need bigger teams to be able to accomplish that.
I only ask because we're based out of California, so
okay.
yeah, so we're doing business there as well.
Oh, no, yeah. So, and if you have a certification, like, you know, as a local business, as a, you know, veteran owned business, you can upload that here. So we are looking for any certifications that you have that you can upload as part of your registration. And I'll be giving you that link. And after you register, in the email, it has my contact info, so you can let me know after you do your registration. I'm happy to look at it. That's all I got. Oh, I'm before time. Unless somebody there fell asleep, but I can't tell if you're all falling asleep.
So
Communications, you said it was a local vendor.
Yes, for our Hispanic communications is Urias.
Urias?
Uh-huh.
Lo hacen Urias.
Urias.
The baseball player?
Huh?
The baseball player?
Oh.
You don't know, we came from Sinaloa.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, I don't follow.
But apparently he's like.
But you have to know about business.
Yeah, but sometimes I have to go to events like those.
Yeah, like honestly.
I'm not. Sports are not my thing. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
So for me, for example, I may not work directly with APS, but as you mentioned, with the small businesses that you're working with, I could possibly help them set up like 401ks and things like that for their employees. We obviously recommend to register there and keep an eye for those events, or how would I be able to keep an eye?
You know what, with those partnerships, I think through our diversifier training portal is a better avenue, because that's the portal that we're gonna be using to doing more events with, you know, our events like that. So, and if you guys want to send me your information, I work with the team that, external affairs, they manage relationships as well. Like with nonprofits, they manage relationships like that. And if there's like, events or things that we can work on together, that's another way as well.
No, that's APS was looking at changing the 401ks.
I doubt it. No. I would say if that were to happen, I will let you know, but we've been working with Fidelity, I think.
Yeah,
they're
it's
just
that
Fidelity.
For a
They're just a
long
small company.
time.
They're just a small.
Olive Garden, is that also some, like, somebody that you work with?
Yes.
Directly?
Yes.
Okay.
So will you guys be at the event on, the 26th, the APS utility assistance program?
No, it's gonna be mostly people from customer service, and we have a team that works with energy assistance organizations. So, but they're in customer service. So no, I will not. Although I was in customer service for 2 years, I used to help a little bit with those.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't even know you guys had like programs like that. Because normally I would just know that SRP did, but my mom's friend works with First Family, something like that.
Okay.
So whatever emails they get, she sends it to me. So I always get like the big ones about that, and I spread it out on a lot of people I know who personally I've had them registered. They have APS.
Okay, yeah. We have like a team that helps with that. There is a person, her name is Michelle Lehman. She leads that group. So if you guys attend that event, you might be there as well. Perfect. Yeah, but we have actually the ACC requires us to spend a certain amount to help with energy assistance. So then, you know, we're looking for organizations to provide that assistance to the customers.
So register.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that yours is a little different.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my card because I would love to connect you to Michelle. And she can give you the connections to the local organizations that we currently partner with, and you guys might even be able to become one.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Do we have any questions online? We haven't forgotten about you all, so now's the time. So while we wait, we'll also share the information that Sylvia just provided to you all. A couple flyers as well in our post-event email, so be on the lookout for that either later this afternoon, tomorrow morning. Just be on the lookout for that. We have a little raffle. So next week we are partnering with the Arizona Coyotes and Blue Cross Blue Shield for a little Los Yotes night. So we have a couple tickets to raffle. So we have 2 pairs of tickets actually, and then we also have some for our virtual audience. Awesome. Looks like someone has a question here. But no questions, but would like to say thank you to this presentation. It was very informative. All right. So did everyone put in there? Okay.
So the Better Business Bureau is having their ladies women's summit, business summit. There are some spaces available. So if any ladies would like to go in and participate upstairs, let me know and we'll go and get you registered. It ends at 4. So just let me know. Okay.
Highly recommend. I try signing up. They wouldn't let me. Highly recommend.
I wonder why you would try to sign up.
I thought it was for this. I thought it was for this, and then I read it, and I was like, it goes to a form. Yes, business day. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is.
That's all this show was.
So the first winner is Alex Machado.
Yeah.
All right.
Different business cartels.
Yeah. All right, our next winner here. Okay, Hector Marcus. And then our winner virtually, let me see. Jacqueline Ellis Trice, you are our winner for the tickets virtually. So I'll be sending you all information on how to register. So thank you all for coming. Thank you everyone who's online still as well. So see you at the next one.